All right, Jay, I've got a conspiracy theory to confess. All right. What if I told you that Games Workshop created Specialist games, or brought them back, I should say, because they had them from before, not to make piles and piles of money like they normally do with their huge IPs, but instead to crush and suffocate all other small miniature games? What would you say to that?
Wow. Well, yeah, I would say yeah.
Oh yeah,
but I'm the wrong person.
It's probably not a conspiracy theory. It's probably just like what's actually happening.
That's what I literally tell people on camera week after week.
Hey guys, welcome to another Lords of War Games and Hobbies video. I'm Chris. This is Jay, and we make these videos a couple times a week where we talk about industry fun things, silly news, and whatever the heck we can think of. Really, actually, yeah.
Yeah, it's the thing is, like, it's funny because Games Workshop is just kind of chugging right now, especially what was the last controversy, of any?
Are we talking like financial controversy or like just like cultural stuff?
I guess it's just, I guess we had female custodes
was pretty, like, yeah.
And then we have the usual, just the very like on schedule, an edition drops or a FAQ happens. Or a price increase. There's a bingo card of things.
The yearly things, right? Yeah.
But most of the time are like right now, where there's just nothing like really controversial. They just keep selling. They just keep releasing kits and keep selling kits, and like it's a bit like the the TCG new set. Right now we got Kill Team at the shop. It comes out this weekend. We just got a little pyramid of Hivestorm boxes.
Yeah.
And it just kind of business as usual. I feel like they have a lot fewer crazy controversies than other, like WotC and stuff, like these other games and video games and stuff and movies. And there's always some celebrity doing, I don't know, Games Workshop is pretty controversial free, I think, comparatively. But anyway, the main topic is all these specialist games they make, and their main purpose is to just cast the widest net. I had someone last week who's like a prominent old world guy, and he just kind of was like, "Oh, do you think these like you think this is interesting?" Because he was looking at the like what do you call it, the old world cast warrior battalion. It's got like 40 warriors and 20 knights and some chariots or something, and it's priced quite well. It's like $220, I think.
Yeah, those box sets are pretty. They're
meant to be, Games Workshop was like, well, look, there's going to be newer players that may want to jump into this, and we want to make it as easy as possible. And he's like, oh, you think this is undercutting AOS or something? And I was like, because he's in his mind was like, look, you can get all these, even though they're older sculpts, you can get all these Slaves to Darkness models for way cheaper. And I was like, Games Workshop doesn't care. It's a sale. Yeah, a sale's a sale. Like,
it's a sale.
Who cares? Like, and it means you're staying in their ecosystem. You've like stumbled into this thing, and the thing you forgot is the door's locked behind you now. You thought you like, what I mean? It's like you've gone through one of those doors that you don't realize until you exit. You're like, oh, and then it shuts behind you, and you're like, oh, there's no doorknob here. I can't get out. Like, that's the purpose of all these games. There's no chart in games. There's no one in Games Workshop that's sitting there being like, man, this old world thing. It's we needed to do this much. We just gotta do really hinging on this for the. It's like they're just like,
they do is they add those numbers to their other numbers, and they look at the number,
the biggest number.
Look at that number.
It's so good. They don't.
It's a great number.
As long as the pie just continues to grow a little bit, it doesn't matter how it got there, because the cold facts are it's just about that what is the raw profit and the earnings and versus cost.
It'd be a bit like asking a game store owner, like, which game would you prefer that I purchase from you, and I'd be like, I don't care, man. Whatever makes you happy. Ultimately you're supporting me, and that's all that matters, right?
Yes.
And Games Workshop has the same mentality.
It's a macro level of it. Yeah.
So, I think you touched on that really well. But I think like they, if we're going to be really dark and cynical and say like, you're when you're playing 40K or AOS, one of their main games, and you're kind of like in this cave and you're like this is all I know for wargaming, and seems amazing. And then one day you wake up and you realize that, those are just shadows on a wall, and you can like walk out of the cave, and there's like that wasn't really real. There's other things, but like the next layer of cave is actually just all the Games Workshop specialists.
There's another cave inside the cave,
But you think you're out. You think you're out of the cave, right? Yes. But you're really just in another cave that has more things.
That's such a first thing to go into the
I know. They can't help it.
Cave.
I think we have to acknowledge that those products. This is kind of interesting too. Those products resemble a lot of other companies' products, almost directly in some ways. But I think it's also worth acknowledging that a lot of those products that the Games Workshop products kind of like are analogous to came out because of the original Games Workshop specialist games in the 90s. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of this weird circular thing where like Games Workshop kind of created all these like really neat, really fun, nostalgic products like, your Mordheims, your Necromundas, your Blood Bowl, Battlefleet Gothic, Epic, War Master, Gorka Morka. There's a whole ton of them, right? Mm-hmm. And they all went away, essentially, in the late 90s, early 2000s or whatever. They're gone. And a lot of other companies went, okay. We'll make our own versions. Warhammer Fantasy Battle, same thing. Like you had, what was it? Conquest Parabellum. You had Kings of War. Mm-hmm. You had
Song of Ice and
Ninth Age, which was not really a product. It was just like a rule set, right? So, and they all were trying to basically make a living off of like the sort of like entropy of like the GW sort of line going away, and those people still having an interest in that thing. So they probably move their money into it, right?
Yeah.
And like any game that exists that uses like 10 models or less, your Infinities, your Malifaux.
What?
Oof. Malifaux. Your Batman, your MCP, all those games are, whether they realize it or not, are competing with like your Kill Teams and your Warcry and your Blood Bowls and all those sorts of things, right?
Well.
Necromunda. So it is kind of really interesting. You have a company that made these games originally. They created a lot of the demand, went away, created a lot of these companies, picked up the slack, and now, because Games Workshop brought them all back in the 2010s, are having to compete again with the thing that they thought they were replacing.
With none of the resources or comparable. Or a lot less.
Yeah.
Even forget the quality angle, just from a sheer distribution, like getting it to the people. Like if Games Workshop makes a copy or a similar game, they can just get it to more people faster. More relentlessly.
They're a fully vertically integrated company.
So like we said a few videos ago, you had Corvus Belli's new Warcrow game, cool minis, cool little game, and it just gets completely dumped on because of just like it gets the spotlight for like one weekend, and then it just gets rolled by the wave of GW that's coming. If you're the guy who's just like, no, I like Warcrow and I'm gonna play Warcrow, that's fine. But I think all the people that are on the side that are like, oh, maybe I'll try a new game. It's very easy to just within like a second to just be like, oh, but what's that over there and what's that, and then all of a sudden you're just like, and if you're already in a Games Workshop game, it's so easy to just stay there, like you're or in that leaving in that sphere, because you, like we said before, you're a lot of questions in your head, like other than the altruistic thing of just being like, oh, those minis are cool, I want to go paint those. Usually you're also like, well, if I'm gonna, the reason you buy that game is because I want to play games with people, etc., and you're just more likely to get those. It's funny, the more like modern iterations of the specialty games, they almost like feel like sales objections. Like, so it's like if someone has like, they're like, oh, I don't really want to play 40K. I find 40K too expensive. It's like, oh, well, here you go. Here's Kill Team, right? It's like, oh, I like 40K, the 40K universe, but I don't find it that like I'm more like the storytelling nature. You're like, okay, well, have you checked out Necromunda? Like it's the thickest game you can probably find in GW's category in terms of like depth and RPG elements and stuff like that. So they have these like
this almost like built-in overcoming obstacles thing with their product line that makes it so hard for you to quit.
Yeah,
like
they just offer something in every sector at every price point, essentially, to have like.
So yeah, and like when someone says like it's the prices are outrageous, I just say like, well, I think you're being a little unfair because like, yes, if you only want to play 40K, I can understand. I can empathize to a degree. You know, maybe you don't want to spend $800 on an army or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. But you can experience the Warhammer 40,000 universe and the Games Workshop hobby by playing Kill Team and spend a massive fraction of that. And so I think it's kind of crazy how well that machine has kind of been set up in the last like 5 years.
Yeah, it hasn't been that long.
No,
they've very rapidly built this
to the point where they're making games that like, and I don't mean this to offend anyone who's like playing them, like make no sense financially. Like, say what you want, I love Legions Imperialis, but like I don't know, like if the guy who created that had to make a financial pitch to somebody, it would have failed on its head.
I just like again we it's not us dunking on the game. Like I
have a ton of the models. Like, you know, I love it.
It's the thing that it just continuously breaks my mind. It's very visual because I have it on the wall, and I had to basically some time ago, like a month or two ago, I had to like reface it on the wall. I had to like rearrange stuff in the store because it was starting to occupy such a large footprint. Yeah. And I was like staggered by just how much it has. Which again, if you're an LI player, it's just incredible. You're like, I have so many kits and so many. I can build armies for years because I have so many. Yeah,
they made a plastic
builds
fast attack box before they made it in Horse Heresy.
Yeah, there's a plastic javelin in that. Hell? Before in the game, and the people dying for plastic javelins. In
literally
dying.
Heresy,
so, and that's like such a flex. Let's make I don't know how big the range 60 boxes, and they're all like full multi-piece equivalents. Like every one of them is equivalent to an intercessor box for how much is in there. Yeah, and they all sell for like $60 each. And there's like, and if you want to carry the range, it's thousands of dollars and
the starter kit's bonkers.
Yeah,
like $220.
It is. It's
and this phenomenal. Is their hardcover
like,
book,
and this is their like just random game.
Random game, so random.
That they don't even bother covering it in their articles.
It's
at
like
all.
An afterthought.
It never gets except for by the way, guys, this is coming out.
Yeah.
And then I see Saturdays come around, and then I'm like, they're still releasing kits for it.
There's a whole new army coming out for it. There's a whole new army coming.
Mechanicum, tiny Mechanicum, and I'm like, man, you guys have the resources to stuff just so you can make sure that the tiny, like, broad scale collectors, so these are usually people that play like kind of the Flames of Wars and the Napoleonics and the War Masters, people that just like small scale, big grand armies. Yeah. Just so they can make sure they own that, they want to have a piece of that too. Yep. For no other reason but that, like another way to look at it is, I know it's not a great analogy because I don't know how, I think they got bought or whatever. And think of like like people that made Drop Zone Commander, like an entire miniature company dedicated to making their little game in small scale with like dozens of SKUs and several factions. I'm like, Games Workshop, that was like a Tuesday for them. Like it was like, oh man, yeah, no big deal. Yeah. I don't need to make a Kickstarter for this. I just made it.
I made it. Do you want it? No? Okay,
they're
that's
gonna do it again with Battlefleet Gothic, and who knows, maybe War Master will come back.
God, man, if they ever bring Mordheim back, it's going to be the most bonkers
Mordheim would be like a small, like a joke for them. Oh man, it would be so cool though.
But it would do so well.
Because they could just release all these little war bands and custom.
Dude, that Warhammer Quest game that was like Mordheim was the craziest FOMO thing I've seen in years.
Very good. Oh, the Cursed City.
Yeah, the Cursed City. Like they're holding the Mordheim thing, and they're just waiting for when they need to make a pile of money.
Yeah. It's. So look, they're a lot of them are also priced a little bit less. Like the way Blood Bowl kits are priced, the way these Imperialis kits are priced, the way all these they're generally Necromunda. It's always that like 10 to 15% less than what they would charge for the equivalent in 40K or AOS. So
I think that's fair. Yeah.
And Old World is the same. It's also priced on the
even like Horus Heresy. I'll throw it in there.
Yeah, Horus Heresy is too
because you can get like 20 Space Marines for $100
for like marginally Canadian. More than a 10 intercessor box,
and you can get 10 Terminators for $100. So there's definitely like a consideration that like number one, they know people are building like massive collections for these games.
Yeah.
And number two, they understand that like these games are designed at people who are filtering out of the bigger games and are probably a little bit older because just by being in the other one and then filtering out, they've aged a bit, have probably more things tugging on their purse strings at that point, still have disposable income, but are maybe a little bit more price sensitive at that point, right? So maybe not.
Well, I think they capture a lot of people just through nostalgia, and I think
sure.
Old World as a project is entirely, everything about it is nostalgia based. Keeping the models classic, using only old stuff, only depicting old models in the books. Like they don't use anything that's AOS at all in any of the art. The spreads of the armies. It's
kind of interesting that you pointed that out. It to me a comparison is like it's when Games Workshop puts out like a new specialist game that like is clearly drawing on like 90s nostalgia. It feels a lot like when the Pokemon company puts their classic Pokemon in a Pokemon set.
Old World is just 151 or whatever. Like yeah. Actually not it would be 151 if they didn't do anything new. If they just like
true, yeah.
Didn't put because at least 151 has new foils and arts in them, but it is Pokemon. It's Pokemon original set is what Old World is how it's packaged and sold, and even the rule set is from earlier editions with some changes. And
it's kind of interesting because I'm seeing this like a lot in the shop these days. Is like the brand is so strong now, they're getting nostalgia from people that never even played the game, or collected the game. That's a crazy thing to see. Another
example of that.
Right?
Yeah, I've had people that just play Total War or something, or they're like. And they're looking at like it has to. I'm like, they're like, I've never played this game, but I remember this as a kid, because maybe you went Old World because 10 years ago or whatever. Maybe you went Old World because if you imagine if someone was 20 today, they were 10 when Old World went away the first time or whatever. So they may have walked into shops and seen some of the rank and flank and maybe picked up a White Dwarf and read it. It's exactly that, and they're like. Looking at it from the pure nostalgia perspective. And
in some ways, like, as we get older, we kind of, like, chase and buy things that we, like, wanted to have as kids but couldn't afford or couldn't get, right? So I can kind of understand that.
It's very powerful. We see it across so many industries and sectors. We pine for that, as we say over and over, that time in your life. When you were, whatever, whether it's 90s video, N64 game or something, you're reminiscing to that era where those summer times where you had nothing else going on, carefree, and just or crushing these video games. Is that why
I can't stop buying Mario and Zelda games?
You especially. No, we're all guilty of it for sure. Yeah, some more than others.
Yeah, for sure.
But no, I think we all are to an extent. I think. Look, it's really powerful, and it's so powerful that think of how many movies are remakes, how many video games. Like right now, we're in such an era of remake video games. Everything's a bloody remake right now. That's also a different problem.
And that's another really interesting thing you brought up. I think that's what these smaller companies are now fighting. Right, the battle. They're trying to create something new.
Yeah.
And Games Workshop's just recreating something that already has a history, already has feelings, already has product knowledge, and obviously has all the resources behind them. Think like Disney or whatever, right? Obviously they're not that big, but in the miniature world they are that big. And these smaller companies have to be creative. They have to create something new. They have to build a brand from scratch.
Massive risk,
take huge risk, and have less resources. And that's the battle that's going on right now. And in many cases, that's the battle that they're losing.
Yeah, I mean, another company like Steamforge is trying to. I think they're trying to nostalgify a little bit of War Machine with how they're they made sure their new starter kit is Khador and Signar.
Absolutely,
and it's back to the fundamentals.
Red and blue, dude. Red and blue.
Back to the fundamentals. You're just like. Warcaster and a jack and a little whatever it is support unit to go with it, and both sides get that, and it's designed to look and feel like early second edition War Machine. Like that's on purpose. That's like not a, you know, they're looking around and being like, how can we bring the people back that were there at the beginning? Because that foundation, if you bring those people back, then you already have a pool of people that you could draw from, rather than, like you said, if you make a new product, you got to create new people, and that's like exceedingly difficult. So it's probably why we have the cyclical, like every two to 3 years there's another Star Wars card game, because they're just like,
it's just easy.
It's easy.
Yeah.
It's easy.
It's like we could make a new card game. We have the mechanics. We could basically create a new universe and IP, or we could just slap something that a lot of people recognize on top of it, and that'll sell it a lot better.
Maybe think of like how many times Games Workshop's gone to Ravnica or
whatever. Wizards? Yeah. Return to return.
Just keep
Ravnica.
returning to. You step through the gates of that city and you're just home again.
Oh my god! Ridiculous. Hey man, every time I see that pop up, I'm like, oh, Ravnica. Eh? Dark Confidant.
You just
Oh man.
in a guild.
Wow. Well,
another good old ramble today.
Yeah, I think so. I think it was a solid ramble. I think there was some good stuff there. But if you guys like this sort of stuff and you really like our channel, consider supporting us on Patreon. We have a few people on there, and we basically take people's suggestions for videos and stuff like that. And it just helps us build the channel up and says to us, hey guys, spend more time making videos, because there's a financial incentive, right? So yeah, ultimately, like, it takes away from our other jobs, so we have to have that. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Take care until next time. Bye.